So I just want to tell you briefly about our thoughts and what we're up to our focus, which is on trying to deliver HPC power and expertise to all. So that goes under the some of the headings such as democratization of HPC and so forth and so on. And by HPC here, we're really concentrating on what I call, for lack of a better word, true HPC. So I mean supercomputing, not so much server farms, although that could also be something that we connect to. But our emphasis really so far has been on premises through HPC. So Constelcom is a company which was founded in the UK, and with the mission of delivering HPC to all. It is very much built on personal experience, first and foremost, as a CFD developer and practitioner, and I also run a CFD firm. And throughout my career, I've seen of course, the need and the advantages that HPC could bring, but also some of the difficulties working with it and having access to supercomputing resources, particularly as an SME. And so our mission is to deliver self-managed, easy-to-use supercomputing anywhere, anytime. We put an enormous emphasis on self-managed. I think that it's very important if we want HPC to be taken by many people, many more people. People have to be self-managed. So our view of the current situation, which is somewhat caricatural. So of course there will be cases where it's not completely like that, but it's a generalization that we have found to be true to these days, and that's HPC is really still very much the prerogative of either very large firms or government national research facilities, and that there are barriers to adoption. Some of these barriers I've listed here. So accessibility, how do you get on machines? Is it affordable? Is it available? Of course, as the previous speaker mentioned and other speakers, there's obviously an enormous capex expenditure if you want to have your systems. There's also an enormous expenditure which is less mentioned in actual skills. Once you have these systems, what do you do with them? They are I tend to describe them a little bit as Formula One or Ferraris. They are machines which don't really work just like your average PC desktop, and people have to understand that. There can be some opaque procedures. People may not be aware of, like the skills. Often we see a lack of flexibility. There can be concerns with security, so that's also one of the reasons why we concentrate on premises HPC rather than the so-called cloud. And also, there's silos. People see certain things as being only relevant to some experts. So I quoted, you shouldn't need a PhD in computing when you already have a PhD in chemistry. And this is something I've heard actually at SC19 in Denver last year from one of the participants. So we have really the tack of doing things from the standpoint of users and try to really free them to enjoy HPC. From the standpoint, so there's obviously two components to this. So there's from the standpoint of the centers, we also see that we sometimes there's a language, a skills, a cultural gap between the centers and companies, and in a very stereotypical way. So I apologize if that offends anyone. It's not the point, but it's just to generalize for the sake of this presentation. A little bit we see a fight between an academic background versus companies which need, well, the time is now. We need this now. We really need quick calculations or quick results. There's a lack of visibility sometimes for centers, and a perception from companies that centers are doing very, very high-end research and it's not for them. So that may prevent centers from reaching out to as many customers as they could. There's also the opposite situation, because sometimes this dialogue doesn't really happen. The communication is a bit broken. Centers may have solutions, and then they're looking for problems. I have skills. What can I do with them? And there's definitely a need to maximize usage from the standpoint of HPC centers, government facilities, to justify the money that's invested in them, and they're doing this for the good of the country, or Europe, or larger frameworks. And also, what we see is that facilities would like to concentrate on running the systems, delivering their expertise, and not be so involved in day-to-day management. So what is our answer to that? Our answer to that is Constellation, which is a web accessible HPC ecosystems for users and also for centers. So as mentioned, self-management is at the core of our thinking and what we've built. And we want users to be able to manage and access resources as if they were theirs, and they can do whatever they want. So we're talking resources in general, software, hardware, files, and people. And that's why we've chosen the name Constellation for the platform, because it's an all-encompassing environment. People should be able to run their simulations, whatever they want to do, whatever their application. And also, we think that collaboration is a very strong element of that, as well as visibility on what they're doing. And all of this to access the best machines possible from HPC centers. So we see this as the way to remove the barriers from the users to HPC, to really maximize the utilization and let them get on with the work that they want to do. So it's very important to us that people can do whatever they want. So it's application agnostic. The platform works exactly the same, whether you want to do animation, environment, big data analytics, etc., etc. We're seeing an enormous increase in the number of things that are pushed to supercomputers, and we think that's very, very good, because it can also not only help people who are doing specific things, but also open their horizons to doing more with the applications and the hardware resources which are available. So we work with HPC centers, and our goal with them is to help them increase their usage. And we are developing with different HPC centers with the goal of increasing the capacity which can be offered to users. We're working with the Hartree centers, for example, in the UK, and we're working very closely with them in order to bring more applications, more users to the machines, and to help them serve their own users more as well. And we're looking to forge partnerships with other centers. So we are looking in the EU, the US, and Asia. Of course, we're online, so we're interested in all parts of the world. So of course, if anyone is interested from an HPC center standpoint, by any means, reach out to me later. I'll be extremely happy to learn about what you do, to meet you, and to discuss whatever might be of interest to you. So what does the platform do? So from the standpoint of HPC management, it lets centers manage the resources efficiently. So that means they can reach out, and they provide users with a computing power in a secure environment, so they can open constellations for their own users. They can do this literally at the click of a button. They can enable users and then let them run with it. Let them run with it, again, is the self-management, which is very important for people to feel that they're in charge of what they're doing, but also to free centers from too many administration tasks, and to be able for them to deliver skills. We think that a very strong advantage of HPC centers is also the skills, and they can use Constellation as the medium to deliver the skills. They can also carry out their accounting. They can see exactly what their users are doing. They can assist clients and monitor the systems in general. For users, it allows people to use HPC, whether they are professionals or not, So the screenshots that I'm showing at the bottom are for the access to the HPC Center HPC systems. It would be the same for other systems. It can also be tuned in for different centers as required. Users log in. They can run any job. They can create their own projects. They can create teams or groups if you want. They can upload and download files. They can edit files live. They can monitor the jobs, the data on consumption, and we also make available to them apps or workflows if you want to wrap intricate tasks into very simple to use UIs. And what we find with that as well is that it's very powerful because it allows experts to create a tool which can then be delivered to people who need it in their everyday work but may not be HPC experts themselves. So I can show you a little bit what it looks like. I'm not entirely sure how much time I have to do that, Marek. To have a few more minutes, or
have maybe 2-3 minutes to talk, and then maybe 1 or 2 questions.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Slip through the timeline.
Okay, so I just want to show very briefly. So this is what it looks like from the administration. This is our demo site, so it just has a few things. So we have this a concept of companies. Then you can do your project management, create projects for everyone, monitor all the data, that's the usage. The HPC accounts to monitor all your accounts for your HPC users, and obviously super admin. And then we have these notions of apps where you can create workflows on behalf of the different companies, which is a very efficient way for centers to deliver some of the skills and the systems. From the standpoint of a would-be user, again, this is a fake company just for the sake of the demo, and a fake person. So this person here is what we call a company account manager. So they can do the project management, the monitoring, and add users or reactivate or modify users for their own company's Constellation as they want. And they can also carry out their own tasks. So they have a workspace where they see their apps. They have all their different projects, the monitoring. They can see their jobs, their apps, and their software. And in projects, they can drill down in the different teams, and then they can see their files directly as they are on the machine, and they can create files, or they can do different things with directories, or edit files live. So in a very brief nutshell, this is the sort of functionalities that you can have with Constellation. So just to wrap up the presentation, in the words of one of our corporate users, using Constellation has delivered to them increased productivity, and they can literally do things in 3 clicks from login to getting the results. So they have gained speed, ease of use and access, the collaboration, and the management. And if you want to get in touch, again, I'll be very happy to hear from you.
Thank you, Nicolas. Perhaps we have time for one quick question, but okay, we have it from Piotr Bauer. Is your solution open source?
No, it isn't, but we are very happy to work with centers and developing with them things that are specific to them.
Nicolas, I have a question.
Yep.
As a manager or sort of person responsible for finances of
yes.
HPC Center, what sort of accounting tools do you have in the Constellation? And also, how can you educate users that the resources are actually pricey?
Yes.
That there's a price attached to every clock cycle on every core.
There is, yeah, indeed. So we're showing the monitoring data. And one of the things we're introducing in the new version as well is the notion of quota and budget management. And so people will have a direct, real and live view on exactly what's happening and the spend that they have.
Very good. Because one more question. There is another product on the market from a company called Rescale.
Yes.
Could you tell us, what are the advantages of Constellation compared with the Rescale solution?
I think we're targeting slightly different, maybe not slightly different, but we have different targets. We offer a solution which is both for centers and for users, and it is built as a bridge. So we are not there just to bring people, say, to AWS. The other thing as well is with regard to your question and the question from the previous question about whether or not we're open source, and my answer, which is that we endeavor to work in partnerships with centers, is that we can deliver a solution which you can keep to yourself if you want. So unlike these other products, and I don't want to go too far in speaking about them, because the truth is I do not know them extremely well, and I'm not part at all of these organizations. But in adopting Constellation, you can have a system which you run yourself, and which then you can modify with us, or later we can expand for you as well. And so you're completely in charge of your systems. You are not giving away your system to someone else to use in a way which is completely opaque to you.
Maybe last question, Nicolas. HPC Center is expanding and buying new hardware. Do they also migrate the Constellation to new hardware?
I think they will, yes. Again, this is all in progress, but I think they will, yes. They see that as very much a key to serving a larger audience, and also to serve the audience better, but also to reduce the load on their own admin.
Thank you very much, Nicolas.
And thank you very much, Marek, and everyone, and congratulations again. Very nice idea and very nice conference.
Thank you.